Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aldas, and what a crazy start to the 2020 season we've had in Formula 1. And what's crazier than anything else is that the season hasn't even started. It really has been a mad 2020, certainly for Formula 1, both on track and off track as well. We've had worries of cancellations, we've had controversy already, and that is kind of what I'm going to talk about in today's video, because honestly, this is just insane. The Formula 1 season hasn't even started, and already there's teams popping off, there's Grand Prix being cancelled, and it just seems to be one of the maddest years to start watching Formula 1. So yeah, this is going to be a super kind of off-the-cuff video, kind of talking about a lot of topics, or certainly the two main topics regarding Formula 1 and some of the worries in Formula 1. And again, it's going to be a super casual video, but I do hope that you enjoy it. I've been a little bit busy the past couple of days, so I haven't been able to upload, but hopefully this video will give a few little summaries of my thoughts of the recent events in Formula 1. Now guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy my content, then drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. But guys, let's get into this one. So, there's no better place to start other than with the civil war going on in Formula 1 just as the new season is about to begin between Ferrari and the FIA against the other 7 teams. Now, okay, where do we start with this one? Let's go back all the way to kind of the beginning now. This is going to be my quick little 1 minute or 2 minute kind of quick short bang summary of what's going on. Now, back in 2019, Ferrari obviously had a very strong power unit. This was evident by their strength on power circuits like Bahrain, Canada, Monza, and Russia actually as well. Now, their straight line capabilities increased even more actually after we came back from the summer break, as Ferrari brought an upgrade which was estimated to give them up to 8 tenths compared to Mercedes and Red Bull. Now, Ferrari really did use that advantage as soon as we came back from the summer break, actually taking 6 consecutive pole positions and 3 wins in a row as well, from Belgium to Singapore. Now, this sudden burst of success brought immediate criticisms, as it always does in Formula 1, from the other teams, as they had real suspicions actually that Ferrari were doing something with their power unit that wasn't entirely legal. And now this is where it gets either a little blurry or a little coincidental depending on your view. Now, the teams lodged a complaint with the FIA to investigate Ferrari's PU, and the FIA initially put forward a technical directive to basically remind the teams, and mainly Ferrari obviously, what they can and can't do with regards to the fuel flow and the burning of coolant fluids. Now, again, depending on whether you think this is coincidental or not, Ferrari for the rest of the season didn't even manage to set a single pole or even get a single win after the Mexican Grand Prix, with Max Verstappen coming out at the US Grand Prix and saying, "That's what happens when you stop cheating." Ouch, cold-blooded from Max Verstappen. We expect nothing less, of course. The FIA did then actually seize Ferrari's power unit after the Brazilian Grand Prix to investigate it further, as we basically wrapped up the 2019 season in Abu Dhabi, where Ferrari, surprise, surprise, yet again got caught up in a little engine controversy with the FIA, as Leclerc's car actually had close to 5 kilograms of fuel that wasn't officially reported to the FIA. Now, despite the fact that Leclerc did get on the podium and was actually at risk of losing that podium, Ferrari managed to basically get away scot-free with nothing but a fine. So now we get to 2020, and literally out of nowhere, with about 10 minutes to go in pre-season testing, and I was actually streaming with Sean from the F1 Word, and as this kind of bombshell dropped, the FIA basically dropped this bombshell as they announced that after their investigation into Ferrari's power unit, they had reached a settlement and would keep the findings between them and Ferrari. Now, straight away, this was kind of causing a bit of alarm bells for a lot of people. Straight away, it jumped out at me as well, because number one, the timing was very weird. 10 minutes before the end of testing, as all of the teams and the media kind of began to leave for testing, it was kind of wrapping everything up, and also the zero transparency as well. Neither the fans nor the teams, more importantly, would get any insight into what the FIA actually found. And then finally, there was the settlement as well. Now, even though a settlement does not mean that Ferrari or any party actually, just in law in general, it does not mean that they are guilty or they kind of confess to being guilty. It also does not mean, and I do mean more in terms of the case of Ferrari, it also doesn't mean that they are kind of 100% legal with their power unit as well. So a lot of alarm bells and a very, very strange statement at the end of Friday. Now, rightly so, the other teams were not happy, and I said this at the time that they should not be happy. They should be very, very annoyed by this, because to me, it was really a strange situation, and it did, again, remind us of the old days of, FIA, Ferrari International Assistance, where it just would seem that Ferrari would be able to get away with anything. So, rightly so, the teams were not happy, and all of the 7 non-Ferrari powered teams wrote a joint statement, led by Toto Wolff, actually, who initially kind of reached out to all the other teams against the FIA investigation. Now, to summarize their joint statement, the teams were shocked that the FIA, behind their backs, had not only given Ferrari a settlement, but also struck basically a backroom deal with Ferrari to keep the findings of their investigation, regardless of what they found, confidential. Now, the teams also reiterated that as the governing body of the biggest motorsport in the world, the FIA has a responsibility to act with the highest standard of governance, integrity, and transparency. They were also quick to mention that if needed, legal action would be taken, and in my opinion, rightly so. And now we arrive to kind of the most recent and up-to-date news as the FIA responds to the team's objections. Now, again, I'll not read out the whole statement, which will be linked below, and all of the things and all of the sources will be linked below. So if you want to read the full articles, yeah, just head on over there. I'll only really kind of read the important bits. Now, the FIA kind of hit back a little bit and said the extensive and thorough investigation undertaken during the 2019 season raised suspicions that the Scuderia Ferrari power unit could be considered as not operating within the limits of the FIA regulations at all times. The FIA was not fully satisfied, but decided that further action would not necessarily result in a conclusive case due to the complexity of the matter and the material impossibility to provide the unequivocal evidence of a breach to avoid the negative consequences that a long litigation would entail, especially in light of the uncertainty of the outcome of such litigations, and in the best interest of the championship and its stakeholders. The FIA, in compliance with Article 4.2 of its judicial and disciplinary rules, decided to enter into an effective and dissuasive settlement agreement with Ferrari to terminate the proceedings. Right. So that's kind of the whistle-stop tour of everything that has happened. I've tried to put as much information as I can, but I don't want to make the entire video about Ferrari. So yeah, my thoughts on this. I mean, first of all, and number one, and most importantly, I do not know if Ferrari's power unit was legal or not, somewhere maybe in the middle, maybe there's a grey area, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm not actually going to comment too much on that because I don't have all the facts, and I'm not going to make this video about Ferrari is cheating. I want to talk more about the FIA and how they have conducted themselves throughout this investigation and what they kind of provided to us at the start of this year. Now, what I will say is that the way the FIA has handled this situation has been ridiculous, starting with the way they even released the statement in the first place. I mean, with 10 minutes to go in testing, as though they were trying to hide from, literally, as though straight away they were trying to hide something and basically trying to avoid being questioned by both the teams and the media. It honestly sounded, when I first heard it, like they were saying, we can't say whether we found something or not because we don't know, so we're going to just take some money from Ferrari, close the case, and not tell anyone or any of the other teams really whether it was legal or not. That is honestly kind of what it just sounded like. Like, we can't really say yes or no, so we just take some money and draw a line underneath it, and that is just not good enough. Then the actual investigation itself, which resulted in a settlement and confidentiality between Ferrari and the FIA. Now, this is not Bernie's era of Formula 1, and it's not the 1980s or the 1990s anymore. In the modern world of sport, and especially with social media and how fans interact with their favorite sport, we expect transparency between the sport's governing body and us. I mean, look at Mercedes. Not only did they bring a new innovation for 2020 in DAS, they freely answered questions from the media and fans as well, and subsequently created a dedicated video on their YouTube channel explaining what DAS does and how it's absolutely legal. And in that case, you can see with Mercedes, there's no smoke and mirrors, it's just absolute transparency, which as fans is what we want to see. Now, as fans, we expect nothing but the highest level of dedication from our sporting body to investigate something that may actually be giving one team a big advantage. Instead, like, we got that follow-up statement, and again, I'll repeat it, where the FIA basically said the FIA was not fully satisfied, but the further action would not necessarily result in a conclusive case due to the complexity of the matter. Now, that is just not good enough. Not only does it basically answer zero of the questions, it also leaves the other teams very angry because Red Bull, for example, if this power unit was illegal, if it was kind of in that grey area, how do Red Bull feel? They've already actually said that they want $24 million, by the way, in compensation. Good luck trying to get that one from the FIA, but yeah, they're very angry because obviously they finished behind Ferrari, and when you look at the races that Ferrari won, it was kind of on power circuits, so it's not like it's just a tiny little thing that doesn't matter. A power unit which kind of rides that grey area of not legal and kind of legal is something that is a very powerful tool that clearly brought a lot of success to Ferrari in 2019, even though they still didn't manage to challenge for the title, but nevertheless, it has made all of the teams that aren't powered by Ferrari very angry. This entire kind of charade by the FIA has not been professional at all, and yeah, this is not the end of this story. No doubt the teams are still not happy. If they do not get some clear answers, if they do not get some serious kind of black and white statements, this is what we found, this is what what we didn't find. Ferrari is either legal or not legal, somewhere in the middle, just to kind of clear it up for the teams themselves more than anyone else. This is not the end that we have heard of this, and no doubt there could be some legal action further into the 2020 season. So yeah, what a way to start the brand new decade of Formula 1, with controversy with Ferrari and the FIA on one side and all the other teams on the other. Yeah, fantastic. So not only do we go into the brand new season being troubled by a civil war inside of Formula 1 with basically people from both sides threatening legal action, we also have an imminent threat of cancellation in terms of multiple races during this season due to the coronavirus. Now this is something that has developed and escalated more and more over the past few weeks, and certainly it's something that could be very troubling, and it's already had a massive impact actually on the start of the season, and I'm only talking about the first 3 races. So let me talk about the situation and where we are now with regards to the coronavirus and what impact it could have. So we've seen the impact that the coronavirus has had on the entire world, and due to how widespread it has become, its consequences have now started to spill over into Formula 1. Now the Chinese Grand Prix, as we know, already has been postponed and will likely be cancelled altogether. In fact, I think it will just be 100% cancelled, but at the moment, you know, it's not official, but we know that we're not going to come back to China within the next year. That is absolutely for certain, even though they haven't officially announced it. It is just postponed at the moment, but there was also doubts as to whether Australia could be in danger as well. Now that's the opening race of the season. That is a very important landmark, but as it stands at the moment, and that's kind of the really important thing, when I'm recording this video at the moment, it might be a little bit different even tomorrow or the day after that, the country is only worried about people who've either been in China or Iran in the past 14 days. So as far as the teams, they're safe on that. For some of the other journalists, perhaps it could be a little bit more troublesome. Now Bahrain and Vietnam is a little bit of a different story. Now those are 2 races that are in danger of actually not happening, as both countries either have a ban or a 14-day quarantine period on people traveling in and out of the country from multiple countries, most importantly for Formula 1, Italy. Now this is very, very worrying. The fact that they're quarantining, or even in some cases not allowing people from Italy to enter the country, this is not good for both Ferrari, AlphaTauri, Haas, who use Ferrari engineers, and Pirelli as well, because their base and their personnel is from Italy. So yeah, it's definitely a massive worry for them, but hopefully it does get sorted a little bit. But in terms of Bahrain, actually more specifically, they have announced that they will, however, put in kind of special precautions and exemptions for people involved with Formula 1 to facilitate their travel in and out of the country during the Grand Prix kind of period. But it has also been announced that the Grand Prix ticket sales have actually been suspended as they kind of assess the situation. So even Bahrain at this point is not even for certain, and that's the second race of the season. So we're getting quite tight on the clock, so that's also a massive worry. And again, this is only the first 3 races of the season. The coronavirus is a very serious thing, and it has already affected the Formula 1 season, with the first 3 races being called to question. And we have 18 more races to go even after that. And when you look at races like Monza in Italy, they are under serious danger of being cancelled if the coronavirus situation does not improve, because Italy, as it stands, is actually the worst hit country in terms of Europe with the coronavirus. So yeah, and Formula 1 has, by the way, already said that it will not hold any races in any country where the teams are prevented from entering it. There was a massive debate online as to whether, if AlphaTauri and Ferrari and maybe even Haas as well aren't allowed into the country, what's going to happen? Does it become a non-championship event? Does it just become, does the race get cancelled altogether? And could you imagine how much money that would lose? Already Formula 1 stock prices are going down due to the coronavirus, especially for countries like Vietnam hosting their first ever Formula 1 race. This is the last thing they need. So this is kind of the really worrying thing about the coronavirus in terms of Formula 1. It's already started to have an impact on just the first 3 races alone, and there is a whole season yet to go. So yeah, it's definitely a situation that is changing all the time, but again, guys, that's pretty much my video, because going into this 2020 season, we've already had 2 massive bombshells in terms of controversy both in Formula 1 and worries of the health of some of the staff and the personnel in Formula 1, and the worries of races being cancelled. 2020 looks like it's going to be one of the maddest and craziest seasons both off and on track, and of course it kicks off in basically a week's time in Australia on March 15th. Well guys, there you go. That is kind of my super off the cuff, super casual video, maybe a bit of a ranty one, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and actually let me know what you think about the whole Ferrari and FIA situation and about the coronavirus situation as well. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, then don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.